Whoops. Alright. Hey, everybody. Hope everyone's feeling good on this Monday. And thanks for joining me for another development stream. Today I'll be working on something a little different. Working on some systems for basically creating a banking system for your game. Let's say you want the player to be able to store money separately, and maybe you want to be able to sort of have a limited quantity on you, sort of like a wallet. That's sort of something we're implementing on our game, and I've been meaning to build in these features, so I thought I would share this process with you guys. Anywho, let's switch scenes here and get to the stream view. Oh, okay, there we go. Oh, my camera's a little off. Maybe this is a bit more acceptable. Wait, here. There we go. Alrighty. So let's get into our engine here. The first thing I want to do is, I guess I'll save my level here. And first thing I'm going to do is probably go to our pause menu. And right now, let me just play the viewport. Whoa! A whole bunch of compile errors from some work I was doing earlier. This shouldn't really affect anything in this level here going forward. Whoops, we need to set our character we want to play. Let's use Vance, and that's fine. Right, so right now we have our pause menu set up so that you can see on the left side, or the bottom left where our pause menu is, we have account with some information. Basically showing the money we have on us. So what we're going to do first is update this information here so that it is a little more, let's see here. We're going to set it up to be more future-proof based on what we're planning to do here. Sorry, multitasking a little bit. My bad. Hey everybody, Julio, K-Boom, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in here. Okay, so I'm gonna get to the pause menu in UMG, pause menu. Let's, we should probably delete these, yep, and that's fine. Okay, so open up my pause menu and right, so here we have, you can see our pause menu, and we have this black box here for player data. You can see the hierarchy here. There's a section for the time and a section for the money. What we're going to do here is add a few more elements. Probably a few more text blocks. I can probably copy paste this. We may have to make the size box a little bit wider depending on what our needs are, right? But let's see here. For now, let's Control C and Control V these elements in here. So this text block here will be for our, excuse me, our value, and then we'll copy two more. And these are, these aren't going to be variable driven at all. It's kind of going to represent our bank. How much money our total is and how much money we have on hand. Let's see the padding here. They all have a padding of 25. Probably want this to be a little bit tighter. And I think we'll grab our icon and move that over here as well. Probably move that in one here. So now you can see we have a readout of, the players' quantity they have on them, and then, in your bank, let's say. Checkout, yes. We'll compile that. So let's hop over to our game instance. I have mine saved in a general folder, and we'll probably check this out. Save our game mode. I'll have to check that out as well. Right, so our game instance right now, we have basically this temporary variable here, where we can set our starting money. Right now I had 2,000 previously. If we set it to 100, and we have a compile error with, forgive me. That's fine. My preview size is big. I was capturing some footage for our in development video, which you can actually. That was posted probably an hour ago onto our YouTube channel. So if you haven't seen our development updates, if you can't watch every development stream, a good way to see what we've been working on is to check out the development updates that get posted at the beginning of the week. Anyhow, I'm going to go to my advanced settings and just reduce that size, because I needed a full screen play-in window for video capturing. Anyways, if we play from here, you guys can see here, so our HUD is working, and the game instance variable for our malite is directly affecting what our character's bank value is. Now, unlike how the actual character's money is handled, we don't have to set this on our character. We can keep the malite in our bank as, how can I say this? It can remain on our game instance, so we don't really need to move it anywhere else. So let's create a new variable, and I guess we'll call this we'll call this probably Malite Bank. This is Malite's the name of our currency, by the way. So I'm not just making up random words. These are specific to our game. And we'll set something obvious. Let's put it at 55,000 sounds good, or 5,500 sounds good. Save, compile, and on our widget here, on our pause menu, I'm going to go to the graph and see where we set our money, which is right here. And what I want to do is grab this text variable, and this is called text block malite bank. Now this, this should be a variable because we need to be able to set this information, as well as our text block malite. I'm going to call this wallet, and we're going to expose this as a variable as well, because we'll clean this up while we're here. If you've been following other development streams, we've been cleaning up some of our user interfaces and HUDs. Well, mostly the HUD. We've been cleaning up a few other user interfaces as well, removing some bound functions where they're not necessary. So here's our two malite variables, and we've removed this variable from here. So what we want to do is replace this one with a set text, and basically the same function is going to be preserved, but we're going we're gonna remove a useless variable, or I guess a less optimized variable. Let's see here. Let's delete that. Our mallet count, is that used anywhere else? Nowhere. Let's delete it. And what we'll do is set the bank text. Where are we here? This text will be pulled from our game instance. So this comment is actually incorrect. Has to game instance and get/set. Well, lots of stuff now. So let's move this inside of here. And you know what? We probably want to just move this guy a little bit over. Move over the game instance. And those variables should be replaced as well. Kind of pointless. Day count and day phase. And they're already named how I like them. So I gotta thank my past self for setting that up. I'm going to remove the binding on those two. Compile? Sure. Okay. That looks good. And here, I'll try and clean this up as fast as possible for you guys. Okay. So let's see here. We have text block, day count, and day phase. So our day phase is going to go here. And our day count will plug right in here, and that should preserve the function that we had before and make this widget a little bit lighter. I'm just going to bring this up here so we can read a little bit easier. And, you know, let's check the day count, find references, no results found. Very cool. And let's, let's delete it. And save and compile, and let's just test this widget just so we know it's working well. Alright, so, yeah. Well, the function we had before is existing, but like a goof, I have left this empty. What we want to get from here is our bank. And just like this, yeah, getting kind of cramped inside this small comment box. However, I'll clean up my blueprints later off stream. I'm sure it's not enjoyable for you guys to watch. So let's see here. We should get a readout of 55. Perfect, right? So we can see on our character's wallet we have 100 mallet, and in our bank we have 5,500. So we're definitely able to get and hold that information just fine. So let's see here. What is the next thing we gotta do? Just checking my notes here. Eventually I want to build out a bank machine type actor, sort of based off of our vending machine. But let's see here. Alright, so sort of want to build a widget for sort of depositing and withdrawing. Well, not withdrawing. There's no real need to withdraw, just deposit. If you think about how Grand Theft Auto handles their banking system, I sort of want to implement it on that way. Oh, sorry, just saw the comments from Zio Kazama. Sorry for asking this question. I don't know why my HUD is going through my level. It could be that your HUD isn't being drawn on the viewport, but it might be drawn as a there was a type of element here. Let me try and see, and maybe you can confirm it for me on your end. So if you go to a character class, and we go to components, perhaps are you using a billboard? And is your HUD on your character here? Like, those elements that are being drawn, are they being drawn on your character, or are they being drawn on using a widget that's being added to a viewport? It's a 3D widget. Excuse me. I don't have too much experience with 3D widgets, to be honest, Zukazam. It's something I could look into, because it does sound interesting. But I haven't had all too much experience with it myself. Let's see here. So go to our UMG, build a new widget for the interactions, and let's make a new user interface, and we'll call it widget underscore bank. Yeah, I think that's descriptive enough. Let's see here. Let's see here. How do we want to handle this? Ideally, I'd like to leverage some existing boxes from other menus. I mean, we already have built-in hierarchies off of several widgets, which we could leverage. Not that one. Let's see here. In our item stash. Yeah, you know, I'm going to grab my default border setup here. And perhaps we can work with this. So you have to highlight your canvas panel, and then you can paste items in. And for now, we'll just move it. Whoops. Ugh. On to the center of the screen here. And in terms of setting up our graph, we do have some basic sort of structures that we use. And I guess I could go through the motions and share that with you guys here. So the first item we would need is to, here's our event graph for the item stash. As you can see, it's kind of a lot going on. But the event construct here, we have our input delay, our focused item data. What we want to do here is set up and initialize design, as well as this input delay as our first orders of business. Let's see here. Before we get into it, though, just thinking on how the menu should flow, because I don't have to build things and then rework them, and it's sort of that logic of measuring twice, cutting once, you know? Okay, so let's go inside this function. We know we're going to have to initialize our design. So we'll get those elements, and they should be able to be pasted right in. Move the event tick down. We are going to be using that for our menu. And from event construct here, we have the border accent block. That is valid. We did copy that in. And basically, depending on which character we are playing as, we set our focused color and our confirmed colors as we would desire them to be. Don't need these for now. Basically, on event construct, we have to fire into here, and we would have a select on active character, or how do we call that up? Active. Switch on, yeah, not select, it's a switch. And basically, depending on who's being played, we would switch the border accent color. Now here we'll just collapse these nodes, and I'll just call this initialize design. And right now it's a closed graph, which doesn't help us. We just want to make sure it has the appropriate pins we would need. And we'll hop back out of the graph, and there we are. So obviously, if we're interacting with our bank, we need to cast to the PGV main character, most likely. Yeah, because we do want to get certain items. So we'll promote this to a variable. Oh, excuse me. And we'll call this PGV underscore main character underscore reference. And we should be able to convert this to a pure cast. I think that's fine. And we'll get character, get player character. There it is. This music's a bit crazy. Just gonna switch it. Okay. Looking at the comments again. I try to look at it every now and again, but I'm just looking at your comment, Zio Kazam. I'm not exactly sure how to deal with that. 3D widgets. Is that set up using like a normal widget blueprint, and then you kind of have settings here to make it 3D? Like what initializes a 3D widget, I guess? Maybe I can help, but I'm not sure. And okay, it's cast to game instance as well. Cast to cast to our game instance, not the default one. So cast to project Grand Vault game instance, get game instance, and we'll also convert this to a pure cast. Should have no issues, and we'll we'll promote it to a variable and set it. And the variable is PGE underscore game instance underscore ref for reference, and that is sort of the usual initial setup, like event construct that I will usually have. From the game instance, we can get things like the character and play. We could have also gotten it from the active character. It's the same. They're the same though, and we can compile that way. When we initialize into our graph here, now it has that input, and it'll assign the colors appropriately. So on our parent class, let's go in here and let's make a quick debug to bring up this menu. Perhaps it would be yeah, working with some save game stuff earlier. Not exactly ready to share that stuff, so I guess that's a teaser for maybe a later stream. I guess I'll use the B key. I don't think we're using the B for anything. B for bank, anyways. Let's get the B key. B, there it is. Okay. So we want to create a widget. And we want to get our bank. And once that sets itself up, we can add it to viewport. So right now there's no other functions we need to call at this time. So we should be able to save, well, check out, and then save this functionality. While that compiles, I just want to put a little bit of thought towards the flow of this menu. Do we want to, we're never going to be really withdrawing, because money can be pulled from it as needed. It's just more of a safe storage way for your funds. You probably just need a window to kind of like a simple readout, almost like a bank like user interface, as if it was a screen you're accessing, that kind of idea. And then we would probably just have the readouts as they would display, and sort of be able to sort of dump all your money in. Let's see here. So I guess in terms of design, we'll kind of keep it, I guess, generic. We won't really focus on designing it too much here, because I think that should have a few iterations of planning first. However, if we jump into our game view here, and we have our compile errors. How embarrassing. Full disclosure, when I was building out the updates to our conversation system, I had to make some edits on a parent class. And what you're seeing there are the unresolved errors on the child classes. So while it's not ideal, it's not anything critical either. I just have to go into the child classes and clean up the blueprints a little bit. Still annoying, but I just want to sort of explain myself. Anyways, if we hit pause, we have our readout. That's unchanged. If we hit B, we get our widget, and it works. It's pretty all right. And you know what? Usually I do this every time. I don't know. I didn't do it this time. I want to set up a remove from parents. We want to be able to kill this, right? Not have to end our game just by opening it. And just set that up on a flip-flop. And to be honest, that's usually how I use flip-flops the most. Usually just for turning things on or off while I'm working on them. So let that compile again. And Looks like it's organized itself. Now, here we are in our bank view. We probably want to have a pretty basic just breakdown of the funds. So you know what? For the time being, I'm going to actually hide this widget, or hide that element rather. I'm not exactly sure what we want to be doing here. We are going to need some text boxes for text underscore. My gosh. And this is basically going to be your stored malite. And we're going to copy and wrap this in a vertical box just so when I copy items, it stacks neatly below. And then we're going to have another text block here. You know what? We can leverage the text block that exists on our shopping widgets. So if I go to sell, which is, we got this widget, this element here that basically stores, hey, how much we have and when we add items or when we add quantities to it. So it's kind of ready to go in that sense. Just looking at negative 370 and 20. So we're going to hop over to the widget, not the item stash. But the bank. And we're going to deposit that into the canvas panel here. Paste that as so, and what were those values? Negative 370 and 20. So let's just input it and get those positions. So this text block here, this is our, I guess it's our balance. That's the word I was looking for earlier. We'll expose that as a variable so we can set it. And the difference malite is, well, we don't want to, we want to get this. So text block, and I'll call this a deposit amount, and I'll expose that as well. So if we hop back to the graph on the initialize, on the event construct here, after we set up the design elements as needed, we would come out of that and we probably want to set our balance, right? It's kind of critical. So we'll set text. And from here we should be able to get bank, get that malite bank and input that as text here. And just to maintain the consistency of that visual language, I'm actually going to grab that sort of box that we've been using so far to represent our wallet, like the play data, I guess you could call it, and we would bring that into our bank. And not deposit it in there, but deposit it into the canvas panel, and sort of just bring that down here. Now, it is bumped up on the y-axis by negative 30, so we will do that as well. And what we don't need on this box here is our malite value there. So we can remove that. All that matters is that we see our wallet, and now up here we can actually see what our balance is. So just to reiterate, we're not really focusing on design all too much, more so the functionality of dealing with the banking system. We'll get into design and building an actor, like a bank machine, probably in later parts of this series. Like later in the week, I mean. Anywho, we want to be able to set data, so we have the text wallet exposed, the day count and day phase are exposed, so those are ready to get set, so to speak. So we'll get our, sorry, not our balance, we'll get our wallet, let's replace that. And then we will grab our, I guess, day phase and day count. Those should probably be set up here while we're grabbing our game instance functions. And the character wallet can be set back here. So we'll make a little bit of space. Little bit of space for that. And we're going to need a few more of these set text functions. And we're going to hook these in like so. And actually, I want that sequence to be maintained, to be honest. It just helps me keep things a little bit more organized with all the wires that are going on. And from the game instance, we want to get the day count and probably the phase. Change phase. I think there's a get sky state, and then we can break from here, whatever the time of day is. And I believe we convert this to a string and then convert the string to text. And I think that should work. And if we hook up the day count, it can use the same insta-text function. And over here, well, just another set text. And the text will be malite value. And we'll quickly connect the dots and test this out in game using our debug key we set up earlier. Yeah, gonna need to space this out a little bit more, get some breathing room in here for these wires. Okay, save, compile, ignore the errors. That's probably the first thing I set up once I close this stream, or once I end this stream. That's the first thing I'm gonna do. Anyways, if we hit B, we have our bank widget now open. We have our mallet on hand and our display value is not displaying our mallet. So let's see why that is. Bank mallet, we cast to it. I see. We don't have to reroute past this for now. Because of the current setup of selecting a character, these don't get set unless we go through a lot of multiple elements that are like relying on each other are kind of in flux at the moment, and those elements are the main menu and player select and setting the active character in the game instance. Right now, the setting of the active character isn't set up on the main characters, it's set up on the player select. So like going from new game, you go to player select, and you can choose your character. So what's probably happening is that this is coming out void. We should just run that through here, and that would actually solve our problem. So go back to our preview view, and if we hit B, we have our readout. Perfect. So right off the bat, what we want to do next is, immediately I can tell, we probably want to get the horizontal box difference malite and collapse that. Just because set visibility, and I think we can just collapse. And that text only appears on the, when you select deposit, it's going to show you how much you're adding in. And it should be pretty cool. And it should feel good. And this, we'll just make a comment here. Hides element for later use. So right here, we will hop back into our game view. That's now hidden on construct. Our information is pulled, so we probably want to it could be a function instead of just a group. Whether it's a custom event or a function, it doesn't exactly. We can still call it from other actors. So I guess we'll make that in the graph here. Build out some functionality for our bank. So let's create a gate. This is something I sort of added in to improve upon toggle initialize. Sort of to improve upon this system, so you don't get as much. So you can control if the player can, when they can and cannot affect the menu. So we set up a custom event, and I call that something like toggle input, and it would actually be driven by a delay. And in case you're wondering what the delay is for, this delay time to launch animation. Right now there's no widget animation, so I'll keep the delay at 0. Or I guess I'll keep it up here and then just route straight into a sequence if that's needed. But basically, the toggle input event is basically going to unlock these gates. They all start closed, meaning that the onTick won't muck anything up while we're setting up our initial data, running our intro animation, things like that. And after all that's done, we set toggle input. And toggle input fires through here into toggle. And because it starts closed, it opens up anything coming out of the event tick for interaction. And then from here, we can use our branch and begin setting up some inputs. We probably want to set up another custom event and call this deposit malite. Let's see here. suppose the next thing we can do is set up the controls for this. And the way this is done is we just get player controller, and we're just checking for inputs. Get player controller. And then we check is input key down. And yeah, by default it's any key. We don't want any key. We definitely want to specify that. Probably using the interaction buttons. We'll use a space bar for now. So I'll try to type space bar. We got that, and that's our input that we're checking for. We can also, and from here we would call, once that's pressed, we can call our malite or deposit malite. And in between we could do like the nature of this function and event tick. What would happen is if I'm holding spacebar down, this would just be firing like every frame, and it would be calling whatever logic here like a lot. You could minimize this with retriggerable delays or a simple delay, depending what the case or scenario of the input field you need. Do once also works quite well, and all I do here is I set up a do once and a reset, and then from here it sets up everything to work. I will set up a print string, and I just call it deposit, so we know that's firing. And yeah, I'll probably comment this as confirm trust. For this widget, just brainstorming here. What I'm thinking of doing is, in terms of design, making it look like the bank machine interface, sort of like a user interface that is different from the normal interfaces that are given to the player, but we make the interface look like what a character would see. So it might be a little bit of a longer setup where we, maybe making use of the animations and the curves. You could probably make it look like, passcodes are being like a pin is being entered, and, authenticating, blah, blah, blah. Make use of a progress bar that just animates full, like, connecting. It can be really fun visually, I think. But that would basically factor into this delay time here. So whatever that length is, however complex it ends up being, we'll just make sure that the player is actually not able to interact with, we'll execute this event anyways until we want them to. What I also like to do is use integers, and we can call something like a widget phase, right? And I would set this as an integer, and basically, sorry, not set. We want to get this and switch on int, and basically depending on the phase that we assign, and then we can, depending on what we click, we can set this to execute as different routes as we need. Right, so I know I'm going to make use of this, so I'm going to set this up here. So phase 0 is sort of the let's call it like a deposit phase, I suppose. And make like a little, not a whole comment, but this small comment box, and we'll just call this a deposit, right? That's what we're controlling right now. And then if later, as needed, we can have other phases that we route to. And I like the I really like using the switch on int for this, because normally you work, in terms of navigating a widget, you work in layers kind of down. So it's kind of like a quick and easy way to keep track of it while working vertically down and keeping everything in a logical order. It helps with keeping things neat for the most part. Anyways, we've set up the function to deposit. So from here, we want to, I guess, get our main character and our game instance. And what we want to do is get the malite value, and we get our bank. Get the malite bank. Actually, not getting that. We want to set the malite bank. And we want to set it. Excuse me. We want to get it and add to it not just what the character has, but what it's supposed to already have in it. Excuse me. And from here, it's sort of just adding. This is the basis of it, anyways. I mean, we probably want some user interfaces to queue, and then maybe a final confirmation. But I think this widget is going to be heavily visual, more so than the others, just to make it feel like it's a bank machine, right? Let's see here. Maybe we don't want to call this yet. We probably want to make use of this and set this to visible, so that number can show up, and then get the deposit amount and set text to whoops. Oh gosh. Okay. We want to set text to the player's value here. And sort of offer a yes or no. Are you sure you want to do this type of deal? Let's test that will work. Something else we're going to have to do is, for that function, we're going to have to exchange, or I guess update malite. During this function, we're going to have to update on the character with what it currently is, and are basically multiplying that by -1, so we can, oh, not a float, definitely not a float, multiply by integer with a -1, sort of just, we're exchanging, basically removing the entirety of what the character has, and then adding that amount to the character's bank. But we probably want to do that after we transfer it over. That should work, I think. Yeah, let's call this deposit malate. Here, this is a little bit of a disingenuous, let's call this confirm deposit. And this update's perfect. Okay. So this shows up here, and let's make sure that works for now. So hop into our game view. I'll ignore our blueprint errors. And let's see here. We want to open up our bank, hit the space bar, and the deposit event is fired. We can see on the print string, and we can see that, okay, we're checking, hey, we're going to add 100 to the bank. Are you sure? That's sort of what we want to have read up on screen as well. So we're going to add a little bit more to this this widget here. Let's sort of confirm pressed and then execute that event. Make a bit of space, move out of the way. It's a little distracting. We're going to add some elements here, but first we have to get those elements. And I can probably use the same element we have here, where we have vertical box quantity select. We'll have to edit it a little bit, like remove the item data and the cost readout, but we have a yes or no functionality as well as a mallet readout. In any case, well, maybe let's check the buy menu actually real quick, because it might be more suitable potentially. So in our buy menu here, well, to be honest, it's a little bit the same. I guess I'll use this, but I can't help but feel I've built something more suitable elsewhere. Okay, so in our designer, we will paste this into the canvas panel. And play data quantity box. Guess we'll rename this to confirm box. And let's, I guess, center this for now anyways. And I guess put this at 0.5. It's not bad. And here we have a whole bunch of stuff we don't need. Selected item slot is not anything valid right now. And same with this quantity. Jeez. We do want the yes or no. Actually, all we need is the yes or no. Yeah, there's definitely a better box that I could be using, and I believe that is on the item menu. Sorry about that, guys. Let's hop over here. Yeah, this definitely seems better. It's nice and simple. It's already called confirm box. And let's get rid of this one. Paste this. Whoops. Oh gosh, yeah, that won't do. Okay, let's copy this, paste it into the canvas panel like we wanted to do originally, and center this back out. Yeah, set that at 0.5. And sure, for now this is fine. And I'll say deposit mallet. And you can choose yes or no. Hooray. And we're using borders, which is totally fine. So we'll compile, and these are all exposed already. By default, this is hidden. That's right. That's good. And basically, right here, after we, confirm that we wanted, well, maybe I'll call this confirm launch. But right on that event to confirm launch, we want to, well, it makes sense to make visible our confirm box. So we'll do that, set visibility. And then, yep, so here we're going to make use of our phase, and we'll set this to 1. Let's call start for now. Yep. So the first thing I want to do on immediately after is set this to phase 1. So as you can see here, the default of the widget phase is 0, which means that by default we get interaction through here. And as soon as we hit that spacebar, we are setting that to channel 1. So we'll have another sequence through here for the inputs we require. And this can be called confirm deposit. And that's what that phase would be. This is, for the most part, how I organize my widgets. Let's move this a little bit out of the way. So what we're going to need next is, we don't need any gates because you have to get through here, through the starting animation. So we can go right into our branch checks. And I'm pretty sure we're going to need 3. One of which could, so you could do this 2 ways. You could have like a confirm event here, and then we're going to need an up and down, or sorry, a left and right selection for our widget, which we'll control here, which is what these 2 will be for, and then the third one will be for a confirm, depending on what choice you confirm, right? But you could do it 2 ways. You could have another confirm event below, or you could route this back up to here, and then have basically another one of these that detects which phase we're on, and then confirming. Depending on the menu, you can get away with it and it won't be too confusing. But if it's a more complex widget, it just keeps things more easier to read, especially when we use colored comment boxes. It kind of helps things communicate more clearly. Anyways, I'm going to create the left and right selection. I'm going to cheat a little bit and pull this logic from our item pack here, which already has it. If we look through here, we have our widget phases, and we have focus up and down, and we have focus use, which is, this is what we want here. Or I guess this is what we want here, where we have a 0 and 1 only. So if you have several buttons, you would handle this differently, but because it's only a yes or no, we can use an index of 0 and 1 and just sort of maintain this this kind of stuff here. So I'm gonna try to highlight everything so I don't miss any of that good stuff. And I'm gonna copy and paste this right into our bank graph, maybe out here so I don't overwrite anything. It's always frustrating when you paste comment boxes into existing code and now it's all mixed up. But we didn't have that issue this time. So I'm going to route these in just like I said I would. So we focus left, options box yes or no. So left being yes, right being no. So that is correct. We do need a new variable, and it'll be our button index variable. And by default, it will be 0. And we will just replace these. You can actually drag variables on top of other variables to replace them, in case you did not know. And change focus box color. Right, so focus box color, because it's not a character widget, we can probably just set our own focus color. I don't think it's that big of a deal. We can delete that, and we do need these two. Excuse me. So from our item menu, we have these functions up here for our hover sound effects and error. That's what that should say. Gonna have to check this out probably to save it, but that's fine. We're gonna copy these and paste them into our bank. So now we have those custom events and those sounds that should be played. That way it'll clean up the errors on these elements. So let's compile and see where we're at. Beautiful. Okay. So that functionality should work. We set the widget face to 1 as soon as we hit the space bar. And now we're checking in through here. But however, we do need our left and right inputs. So might as well grab that as well from the item menu. So we have face button bottom. Actually, I will grab that one as well. D-pad right and D-pad left. Shoot. I hit Control V. Okay. Left, right, and face button bottom. Control C and paste that into our bank. Let's bring that down here. Basically, we have our face button bottom. So these are our confirm keys. We actually probably should make a bit more space here. And we're going to use an OR to set these up. Let's move that over first so you don't have to reconnect that as well. Set up D-pad left and right. So if I just duplicate these, this will be our left key, which would be our A key. Not any key. It's kind of the opposite of what I want. A and D for here. Can I type B key? No. I wish that would work. Well, maybe I'm doing it wrong. If you guys know, feel free to leave a comment. Okay, we're going to copy those two ORs and hook that up like so. Whoops. Okay, so now that we have those set up, and this is right, and we'll set that up for our branch for focus right, because those are the keys we want to check. Now, that's set up fine, but what we have to do is, based on how these fire, we change the state of these buttons. Temporarily, I'll just kind of use a generic green, but basically if yes is selected, we want the background of that to be green. Maybe something not so blue, but dark. and the opposite to be true for the no button. Right, so then that'll toggle the visual state of the index selected. After that, we would have another confirm down here. Sure, confirm press, that's fine. You can name this better, like, phase 2 confirm, I guess. That's probably better, phase 2 confirm, or phase 1. We start phase 0. Phase 2. Okay. And we'll just bring this over and we'll just grab our same input to check against. It's pretty neat. And confirm launch, that's not what we want at all. What we do want to happen is a switch on int. Whoops, got too excited. Switch on button index, to be honest. So we drag up from here and type in switch. And here we go. We don't need a default. We do want 1 and 2. Or sorry, 0 and 1. Basically, no, I guess we can do this. Kind of communicates the flow of what we're trying to illustrate here with this setup of the widget. So basically, we execute what we want. So on yes, we're probably going to execute this on yes. Sorry, not confirm launch. We're probably oh man. Let's make another reference here, and just reference that over. And just do something like that because I want to move the confirm launch over here. This idea of maybe we don't even need that, right? We just go right into widget phase 1 because we're confirming and executing on that input. And over here, it would kind of be similar in that we would have our deposit. And the deposit would run through here. It would update our malloc. We also want to do a refresh on these elements. So we don't need to cast to everything again. So in retrospect, I'm actually just going to pass this through and move this down so that we're, scared of that. So we're casting and setting up our variables initially, and then, we're initializing our design so it looks the way we want it to. And then here, we would be setting up our data, right? Because we don't need to, basically we want to refresh these, refresh menu, sorry, custom event, and we're going to call that refresh widget. And we want to queue that data to get reset, but we don't want to, reset the references and reset the design. It's kind of all the same. But we do just want to reset from this point. So we'll just move that over, I suppose. Maybe we can move that up so there's less of a mess of wires. Hides element for later use, that's correct. So that'll automatically hide this element. And toggle input, interesting. We probably don't want to toggle input because then we would not be able to do anything again. Instead, let's set this to open, which effectively does the same thing. I've had it on different use cases for different widgets where maybe in some cases it's better to toggle, in some cases it's better to just have it straight open and close. This depends on the kind of flexibility you require. Excuse me. Words are hard. Oh, geez. This is not right at all. And that's not right here. Just realized the title for my stream is incorrect. How embarrassing. I am embarrassed. Okay, so after we execute the depositing of our malite and refreshing our widget, all right? So we refresh that. We can probably reset our phase to 0, kind of like we do over here, and probably, what else do we have to do here? Basically set this stuff off. We want to hide both of those, or collapse one. Oh no, we don't have to collapse this because it gets called up here. But we do have to close our confirm box. Or hide it, rather. Excuse me. And if we choose no, all we really want to be doing is coming back here, back to phase 0, and turning that off. I think that's all we want. I'm just going to clear reroute node, and probably also an error sound effect. That might feel good. And let's test this out. We haven't tested it in a while, so who knows? Maybe there's some huge conflict somewhere. Yes, I am aware. Actually, let's check out level blueprint. We're working here. Might as well clean this up. Yeah, these do no longer exist. That's fine. I set this up for level traveling. It's not a big deal at all. It's actually set up for a development video that got posted today. We can probably just delete it. It's fine. I mean, I suppose this could be turned into a function that exists on our game mode, seeing as that we're calling to save game mode anyways, and just expose this selection. But it's useful being able to get the. Never mind. Sorry, getting sidetracked, guys. Getting sidetracked. Let's close that and save all. Don't think we've done that in a while either. Let's check out those widgets. Sure. Okay, so now we can, sure, jump into our game view here and open up our bank with the B key. So if we hit space, well, that's fun. If we hit space, move our left and right. If we hit no, we're back to our main menu. And so looks like there was some sort of imperfection, something that's not working, because I think we instantly deposited everything. Let's see if we can hop back in here and replicate that. Hit B, hit spacebar, asked if we want to deposit malate, yes or no. So we can see that we definitely want to be able to see what's focused initially, which is something we forgot to add in. If we hit no, we hide our options box, but our quantity at the top right still says plus 100 as if we're trying to confirm. So those are two things there. Just going to make a note of these. So on no, pause it, and if we hit yes, so if we hit yes, our money gets deposited. Pretty cool. That's neat. And I could cue some sound effect, whatever. And then we're back at our main menu here. And you hit B to close that. I guess this would be like mobile banking. It's kind of cool. However, let's set those up. So the initial, we're in the wrong menu here. Let's close that out. And let's go to our bank menu here. So we want to be able to provide initial focus. Basically, right from here, we should. This is set to 0 by default. We should just be able to route right in here. And then for the deposit quantity on reset, you probably, yeah, you have to manually collapse this again. Because refresh does not get called if we're just canceling. So that should, whoops, whoa, what happened there? Yeah, that should solve those two issues. Now what I want to check is, yeah, if I just hold down spacebar, we just deposit everything in an instant, which is not what we want at all. So there are multiple ways to get around this, I guess, just like anything else in programming. Let's see, how do I want to handle it? We could set up a gate. The gate would definitely work. There might be a more elegant solution, but start close and toggle this open. Yeah, I'm gonna do it this way. And I'll just actually, one of the simplest ways to solve this, to be honest, would just be to reroute back into here, basically making use of our do once. And what that would require isn't all that complex. We would need our button index to be closer because I just don't want wires all over the place. But we would just move this up. And we would just have to do a check right here with regards to which phase we're on. And the reason for this is because that do once is basically going to do what prevent what was happening earlier. Basically, depending if we're confirming on phase 1, it's basically the same. But if we're confirming into phase 2, yeah, we'll just go right here. Fairly straightforward, and this could kind of nicely be stacked and arranged. But for the purpose of just checking this out, just want to verify. Okay, so open up a bank, hold space, and I let go. That's perfect. We have our focus. We can hit yes or no. If we hit no, that closes. If we hit no again, or if we hold space again, we get back to phase 1, and our inputs are working. Now, normally, this widget would be driven by an actor interact, which would freeze our character's ability to receive input. But yeah, from here we could hit yes. Deposit our money is safely stored in our bank. We can go ahead and kill ourselves and know that our money is safe. So that's sort of, I guess, concludes the building of our, at least in terms of functionality of the banking system. I don't think there's anything missing. We want to attach this to an actor, of course, to make it function in a more logical way, so we're not moving left and right as we're navigating the menu. And we want that user interface to be awesome. I'm thinking of sort of the way, I don't know, it might be a bit of a throwback, but the way in MGS2, how you would deliver photos to Otacon, how they really make great use of the graphic design, or I guess the user interface design, to make it feel as if you as a player are interacting with the terminal in the world. So perhaps it would be something similar to that, so it feels as if you're interacting with the bank machine yourself. But in terms of how that's going to look, I got to do a little bit of design research and maybe a few iterations of concepts. Don't want to spend too long on it, of course. It's only a bank machine. But I just want to make sure it feels good. Yeah, let's drop this down a little bit. And maybe we can shove this right under here. So we get something sort of like this. And you know what we will do, just to make this a little bit little bit better. We will connect this to 0 so that it's always set that way, because previously I noticed we were in index 1, and that was maintained when we went back into the menu. Okay, so from here, I got a little bit of time left in the stream, about 30 minutes. Perhaps I should, well, what should I do? I wanted to see these notes. We do want to make the bank system work with the some of the existing items we've had. So things like the shopping system, which isn't too hard to do, to be honest. I guess we can do that actually. So let me control save all, and actually let me confirm something again here. Okay, let's check this out here. Let's take a look at our shops. Our shopping widgets. We have basic, buy, junk shop specific, and let's use the basic buy menu, I guess. Junk shop is actually fine. Okay, so we want to use this in the test level here, so let's grab our shop and place it. We have in here our junk shop. So yeah, you can see here a lot of these are the actors with errors. So from here we would play, and I believe it's kind of loud. We have our buy menu here in our shop with the one item on sale. And you can see that we have 100 mallet on us, but this water canteen item to buy is $1,250, $1,250. But we also know that on our game instance, in our character's bank, we actually have like 5,500. So we should be able to buy this in theory, right? We have the money. So we'll have to set the checks for that, but we also want the display. Similar to how we set it up on our pause menu, we want that display to be on the top right, to be able to see what we have on our purse and also on our bank balance. So that's kind of simple in a way. Where we just have to add that information to this widget. I guess we can make a bit of space too. I mean, its size to content is on, I believe. So we shouldn't have to worry about the space actually. So let's grab this and paste it into here. Oh, that's not good at all. Why is it extending this way? I believe, is that controlled by the pivot? No. Where do we set that up? That orientation. one of the trickier parts of I don't think it's random transform either. There's just so many parameters that I can't recall where you control the width override direction for your size box. Maybe it would be the size box itself. That doesn't feel good at all. Yeah, that's not right. Ordinarily, I would Google this, but I'm scared my computer will crash on stream if I do. So, I guess let's bump this out to about 500, and we'll just have to move it over. It's kind of a bummer. Ideally, this should be set up so that it expands as needed in the appropriate direction, which I'll have to set up, because if you do it this way, then it's adjusting in the wrong direction, and it's just like super weird. In any case, this text block should be set to like something small, and we'll grab two more and set up our square brackets as per the other wallet that displays our bank. From here, we'll just turn the other bracket. Whoops, not those. I want those nice square brackets. I will expose as a variable, and, just like we did before, let's call this bank. Sure. And, yeah, we definitely want that padding off. And, actually, I'm not sure if this is overkill or not. Do we need the malite symbol twice? To be determined. Yeah, we'll check this out. No worries. And now that we have that exposed, let's go to our graph and set that. So, right here, our refresh store stock sets that value. We can grab our text block, bank, set malite, set text with our desired input, and that's perfect. From our game instance, we'll grab our get bank value and hook that in as per usual. And let's just route this like that. Okay, now we have our bank text. So now, if we head out into the world, we should get our readout. Sweet. And now we just gotta adjust the qualifications for what makes that purchasable. And I believe, I look at my functions here, max limits for purchase. We have to set this up here, but that is not what is making it show up as gray in our inventory. This is sort of just defining how much we can purchase total. And it's kind of easy in a way. We just have to grab our character. We have our mallet on our character, and we got to add that value plus our bank and divide that in here, and that'll give us a quantity to clamp by for our max buy quantity. I guess I'll do that while I'm here. We have to go into the shop button, the shop item, inventory button, because that has a can buy variable, right? A can purchase variable, and that is being set over here based on similar our characters money. So yeah, let's check this out so that it works, or so that we can make changes and make it work. And because we are only using this, we're casting to our character, but that information is already in our widget we're responding this. To be honest, we can improve this a little bit and just get a character mallet. Maybe call something better. Player mallet total. We'll make this an integer. And honestly, we just want to hold on. We have to cast here to get to run the inventory check. Excuse me. So you know what? Gonna have to say no. That might have been an incorrect call. I was thinking of passing that information through, but if we're already here, we may just need to run over here and just grab our game instance. And we can actually make those pure casts because we know for certain that that's a valid check. It'll be successful. From here, we want to get our bank and sort of simply just add these two together, and this determines whether we can buy it or not. So, excuse me, we will save those two, and we'll make those changes, save it. That should be fine in terms of verifying if we can purchase it or not. Back on our buy menu, like I mentioned, we kind of need to get the max limits for purchase, and sort of do the same sort of call here. So we have a character reference variable, but I don't see a game instance reference. So let's make one. Let's promote this to a variable. Let's call this PGV game instance reference. We'll dump that here, and replace all of those functions. Compile, and now back in our max limits for purchase, we can make use of our reference inside the function and get that bank and do like we did before, hook those up, and now we know our max limits that we can afford based on our total character mallet value on hand and in their bank. Now, pretty much done here, except for the let's see here, the removal, the cost from your character's bank. So if we come down here, we have our buy items function, which spawns item, adding it to the inventory. After it's completed, we reset focus, update character mallet. Yep, so here we have our total cost. Originally, we were only buying using our character's purse, which was why it was totally fine to just, whatever the cost is, grab the negative of that and run the exchange function on our character. But it's a little bit more complex now because we have our bank. And I want to be able to maintain the use of this. It's totally fine. No reason to overwrite it. We'll get our character game instance reference and set malite. Whoops. Yeah, set that bank value here. I'm going to have to multiply this by so I have to subtract this by our character character references there. Basically our malite value. So whatever the I didn't want to get a set. Get malite value. Okay. So we want to subtract the total cost from what our character has. That should be passed through here, but multiplied by 1. And that'll qualify for our exchange, right? Because we have our total. And is this clamped? It is clamped at 0, so we don't have any fear of passing that through. And whatever the remaining cost is, get malite. Oops, no. From here, we want to get bank. And just subtract this. I believe this logic is correct. Subtract that remaining from here. So we can pass through whatever the total is. If it's we'll actually have to clamp it at 0. And the max can be a total cost. That's fine. So I think this would work. That way we don't subtract what we don't need to. Let's test out this logic. So there's our junk shop. Let's go to it. Let's go and buy stuff. Okay, so now we can see this isn't grayed out. We can definitely try and buy it. The maximum we can buy is 1. And if we decide to do it, yeah, that looks correct. I don't like how the size box adjusted like that, though. It's kind of awkward. But this will have to get actually cleaned up. But that's the logic of setting up this bank system, at least for this stream. We've set up a basic widget to deposit, and now we can use and reference the bank's value in our shopping actors, which is pretty cool. A little bit of cleaning up that needs to be done here. So I will actually, I'd actually like a nice function to handle this on the game instance, to be honest. But I'm running a little short on time here, and I'm getting super hungry. So I'll say clean up function, and I'll make this my black comment box, so I know that it's like very obvious as something that needs to be cleaned up. Just sort of a color coding I use that I got used to. Let's see here. Yeah, I think that's a wrap for today's stream. I'd like to thank everyone for watching and for all those likes and subscribes. We really appreciate it. It's really encouraging, and I don't know, motivates us to keep making more streams and to put more effort towards our own game development process. So for that, we are grateful. I guess stay tuned for another stream tomorrow. And if you haven't seen our development update video for last week, that's on our channel. So I'm sure it's pretty easy to find. Yeah, and if you're interested in seeing more media from us, check out our social media channels. Alright guys, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you on tomorrow's stream. Later. Playback devices.